I'm not. Anyway. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and DK in the background, who finally decides to comment on my microphone situation when this is actually the microphone I'm using for today. But look, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Ravens' convincing defeat, absolute demolishing of the Denver Broncos, 41-10. For sure, Bo Nix will have left this game learning a lot. He got taken to school. I think he went from K through 12 in just this one game. Now, Lord knows it took him 8 years to get through college. I don't know if we got through all that. But all that being said, I'm excited to talk about it. The Ravens are back. What a bounce back win. But Glenn, before we get into it, let's shout out our awesome sponsor. Hopefully you guys took the over today on the spread, because it was only, 9.5?
And took the Ravens. Took the Ravens, yeah.
But who we got, Glenn?
Yeah, BetOnline. It's the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, NHL to entertainment and even political prop bets. Head to the BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. And you said it, Jimbo, 9.5-point spread. And man, usually the experts and the odds makers are pretty spot on, but not today. 41-10, 31-point victory. Like you said, resounding victory. And look, you talk about a wake-up call for Bo Nix. I think the equally could be said about this defense. I mean, the Denver defense had to come into this game feeling pretty good about themselves, and seeing what the Cleveland Browns were able to do defensively last week against us probably had them feeling like, hey, we're a good defense. We can slow down this Baltimore attack. And that was just not the case, Jimbo. I mean, Baltimore did basically whatever they wanted to do, scoring at will, running the ball well, throwing the ball. Is another game where Lamar Jackson again shows that he doesn't have to run to be successful. He doesn't run really at all in this game. Has 3 carries for just 4 yards, and I mean he did it all with his arm, Jimbo.
He had -8 in the first half, if I'm not mistaken,
with 200 passing yards.
Yeah, just so crazy to show. To your point, Glenn, I mean, he can be so effective in a million ways that it's just absolutely incredible. I think isn't that the can you get a better passer rating than that?
No, it's another perfect passer rating. It's rare to get it, Jimbo, and he makes it look almost routine, it seems.
Yeah, so incredible when Lamar and not just Lamar. Like, let's say this. Obviously, Lamar's an incredible weapon, but it's nice when you have a guy like that and then you see the play call and the execution in sync. That's the danger of Lamar, right? Because there's this amplifying effect of a guy like that when you can sync those things up. Where there's other guys that are great, but this is to my point, is that when these things line up, is there anyone better? Right. You know what I'm saying? That's more of an impact. I think you'd be hard pressed to say otherwise. But also really quickly want to shout out Derrick Henry, went over the 100-yard mark, and they were mentioning, let's see, what was it? First of all, he already broke 1,000 yards for the season. Ridiculous.
Crazy, bro.
We haven't even had our bye yet.
Nope.
But on top of that, what was it? This is his 7th season in a row with
1,000 yards or
10
plus touchdowns.
10 plus touchdowns. Yeah. Also puts him. I memean, every week they said on TV, every week he seems to be, breaking into
Lamar,
upper echelon.
Lamar already had the record, but he was tied with multiple. I think Josh Allen from the Bills and some other guys where it took the fastest games to 20 plus passing touchdowns, 500 or more rushing yards. And he blew him out of the water. He's now 7 games into a season, has 500 yards or more rushing, and 20
didn't even play
the
third quarter.
Touchdowns. Didn't even play the fourth quarter, and
quarter,
had only 4 rushing yards today. So clearly, he was well over that, and he's got it done through the air. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Todd Monken was just in sync with Lamar Jackson today. He was hitting every play call, seemed like the right one. I love, on first down we have a screen pass to Derrick Henry. And on second down, we have a run up the middle to Justice Hill, and they both work. I just love to see it. The predictability is getting thrown out the window. And, yeah, I mean, look, we can't go any further without talking about our guy, Zay. Zay Flowers was absolutely unbelievable. 5 catches, 127, 2 touchdowns, has that long touchdown where it just looked like the whole team just got spun around and we're just chasing this guy. He's phenomenal, Jimbo's. Pat Surtain is as good as you get in the National Football League. This guy was reaching, grabbing, clawing, and scratching, and still Zay put him to work, Jimbo.
Yeah, that made me think of, you don't want to see Zay Flowers on the beach playing football or in the backyard. Because like you said, Glenn, he absolutely turned that whole defense around. And anytime there's anything that's like off script or change direction, talked about before, but the dude is just in his own league at this point right now. It's just absolutely incredible. Because after he kind of like changed direction in that play, everyone was kind of like, okay, gathering their bearings, even himself a little bit. And then he just broke away from everyone. Absolutely impressive. Always blessed, says, fellas, great game. Defense showed up and showed out. In my opinion, MVPs are Lamar, O-line, and defense, which we will talk about all of them. Have a great day. God bless you and your families. Ravens fan to the death of me. Yeah, let me just comment on that really quickly, Glenn, because when people come up to me and they say they've changed teams, I immediately don't want to be friends with them.
You immediately lose respect. Yes.
Dude,
of course. Absolutely.
As a sports fan, it's not like a guy thing, a gal thing. No, if you are a sports watcher, I don't care. I'm sorry if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, but you're born that way, you die that way.
That's right.
Just what it is. So shout out to you, always blessed. But I know we're getting a ton of stuff, but can we take a minute to applaud the offensive line, Glenn?
Dude, what a day today. Second in the league in sacks coming in this game was that Denver defense, and he had all the time in the world. They're opening up holes for the run game. They're giving him 3, 4, 5 yards of cushion in the pass game. Phenomenal. And honestly, even on the sack in the first drive of the game that pushes us out of field goal range, he had space to climb the pocket and chose to drop back and took the sack that pushed us out. I even think he could have, if he steps up, avoided that sack, and then it's really a flawless effort by this group. Got to give those guys a lot of credit. And I will say this. The first person I thought of when Pat Ricard called his touchdown was Lisa Ann. Lisa Ann, your boy got his touchdown today. Pat Ricard, 1 catch, but that's all he needed, 3-yard touchdown. And he was, of course, a big part in springing those guys in the run game and what a blocker he is. But yeah, offensive line, Lele pulling. It was a beautiful sight out there, Jimbo.
Well, and then on top of that, when they showed the stat about yards, what was it, yards before contact? Yeah. Something like 8.1 today?
That's stupid.
Am I wrong? It was 8.1.
I don't know if that number's correct. That seems insane.
But whatever it is, you're leading the league, and in NFL history, you currently have the record. So, as many ways as you want to break down this offensive line, Eric DeCosta might have fooled us again, Glenn.
Dude.
Might have felt like we had nothing up the sleeve. But look, it's not all to Eric DeCosta, but you got to give something to John in credit for developing this offensive line, because he loses. God rest his soul. He literally loses his offensive line coach, like 10 days before the season?
Roughly, yeah.
But, I know John's not a coach without blemishes, but really, once again, hard to find a coach that does a better job at developing players. Like, at the core, that's what a coach does. I know game management, something that is also part of it, but this dude has taken these guys and turned them into a record-setting offensive line. Just ridiculous.
Yeah. They've been, and it's what we literally preached before the season, and then immediately forgot and gave up on those guys after the first couple bad performances. And yeah, man, they're starting to get better and better, and I can't wait to see this group at season's end. Massey says, why can't most games be like this? Wow. Can you rate defense for each quarter? Early nerves. So happy for Ricard. Defense, deserves touchdown after all his blocking. Yeah, happy for him. No doubt about it. The defense, man, we're going to get into them now. I got mixed feelings when it comes to the defense, because certainly they made plays. Ardarius finally, he hung on to an interception early, which was certainly big. Kyle Hamilton was everywhere making plays, tackling guys. And look, I think Tavius Robinson, man, what a player he's looking like. 2 sacks today. This guy's everywhere. He's dropping in coverage, making plays in zone. Like, this guy, man, you talk about a guy who just needed time. Wait till Tavius Robinson has done his rookie deal and look at the kind of player he turns into.
Dude, Glenn, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm so glad you brought him up, because I have him down as a note. The kid was everywhere.
Everywhere.
So much energy, right?
Yes. Absolutely everywhere. Love that guy's motor. And he's gotten so much better. We have no idea how good this guy can be. I think he's just going to keep getting better. Trenton Simpson, I thought, had some big plays, great tackle on Bo Nix as he rolled out. But overall, I think the pass rush at times was stagnant as hell, and it scared the hell out of me thinking about what this could look like down the line in the playoffs. And I still feel like the pass rush is just not there. I don't think it's good enough. Chris Wormley played well. Picked him up. Nice to see a return of a familiar name and face. But he's not going to bring you much as a pass rusher, of course. He's not out there for that. And Jimbo, Odafe Owe, again, he had a couple opportunities.
Dude, how right close. There. And like, right man, Bo Nix was giving him every opportunity. It's like he knows he wants you to suffer, Glenn. Yeah. That's all it is.
And Jimbo, are you worried? Roquan Smith had 3 tackles today.
Dude, and when he got burned by Bo Nix?
Absolutely, yeah. Like
feet in cement. Dude.
Did you ever think you'd have to go, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys before you call Roquan Smith's name in a tackle when I'm sorting by tackles? Like,
you know what, Glenn? I still am going to say it's a usage thing. I mean, some plays look bad, but I think there's more that we can do to magnify his ability. Something is still off. I mean, look, the defense played well today against a rookie at home, right? Like they made a step forward. But to your point, in a lot of ways, there's still really a lot of ugliness, right? Like a lot of things that need to be
he had too much time, man. He was able to buy way too much time, and a better team with more talent. Man, that scared the hell out of me. But I will say Marcus Williams had a couple flashes. First play of the game, he comes up, makes a big tackle at the line of scrimmage, finally hits somebody. Love to see that. And then he made the tackle in combination, I believe, with Roquan that stopped him on that 4th down. And we finally made a correct challenge, Jimbo. We
finally, and I thought it was incorrect, to be honest with you.
Did you? Oh, I saw. I mean, that once they showed that pylon cam or that first down camera, that was first of all, a beautiful camera angle. I thought it was pretty obvious, but yeah, I mean, it was nice to see Marcus Williams make some plays after being healthy scratch from last week's game and drama surrounding him. Let's hope that they can kind of put that behind them, but I still have a lot of concerns, even though ultimately, look, four 4th down stops by this defense, Jimbo. That's pretty damn impressive. You got to give him credit there, but man, I still have my concerns, man. Big time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. The defense does scare me in a lot of ways because look, you have to give an asterisk to all of this, right? Because look at the offense ultimately we're playing against. You know, there's certainly something there, and we're at home. But I think the strides are there, the improvement is there, and I'm hoping. Look, I'm focusing on trends, Glenn. That's been my thing since the preseason. We talked about the O-line. I'm focusing on trends. This is all I can go on, and that's what I'm gonna stick to.
Yeah, and it is all about kind of the trajectory at the time. You know, you want to be playing your best, obviously, when it matters most. But man, I gotta say it's a step, but yeah, like you said, they're not playing the greatest offense. Kind of like what Sean Payton said about the Panthers win last week. Not a ton of talent. They got some talented players. Obviously, Sutton played well, like we said. Bo Nix, sneaky athletic. You know, got to watch out for that guy. He was able to make some plays, but I mean, holding them to 1 for 5 on 4th down, that's at least something. You want to see 6 for 14 isn't horrible, but you'd like to see that be a little bit better. But yeah, let's get ready for a big Thursday matchup, Jimbo. Quick turnaround this week against a Bengals team that you want to talk about desperate. They were desperate last time we played them. Now, desperation is at an all-time high. They need to win this game, and it would be nice to kind of send the Kitty Cats really officially into early offseason. Don C says he gifted 5 more memberships. Thank you, Don C. You are a legend. Appreciate your continued support.
No. Yeah, and I agree with you, Glenn. Don C is the absolute man. One of the things I was going to ask, though, is, regarding this defense and the pass rush, what are you going to do if no moves are made on Tuesday?
Oh, I'm going to be a baby.
Yeah.
I'm
Is
going
it
to be a
over?
huge. It's not over, but it just means we're going to have to outscore everybody. And if the offense has a game where it's got some mistakes where they're, look, we saw another drop snap today. Like if it's something like that, a penalty on 2nd and 10, it pushes it to 2nd and 20. Anything, any type of drop pass. Like there's so many. If the offense makes any mistakes, I don't have a ton of confidence the defense can stop them. And then so what it turns out to end up being is which offense has the ball last, and that's the team that wins it. And I have confidence that our offense obviously could win shootouts and can get the job done. But like I said, when you're reliant on outscoring teams, a bad bounce, a drop snap, a bad penalty at the wrong time, I mean, any of those things can derail your drive, and that's all it could take if you can't stop someone.
Yeah, even in there was moments in this game early on. I know that they're forgotten, but when the game was what was the score? It was 10-7 at one point, right?
Yeah.
It felt like crap. If they get a lead type thing and we start going back and forth, you don't know what's going to happen, even though you are a superior team in a lot of ways. Just like you said, if you have little confidence that your team can make a stop, it really becomes who gets the ball last, who happens to convert, in the end zone one more time than a field goal for the other team, who misses a field goal, who doesn't, right? The game changes dramatically. So certainly that's a point worth bringing up as well. But dude, I mean, look, I'm glad you brought up Tavius Robinson. I think that there's some other stuff on the defense that I'm hopeful for. I thought it was funny. You talked about it. Marcus Williams made a play early on, but then he got doo-dooed on by Bo Nix. Man, that's he's going to get made
on
fun
the Philly
of
special.
One, right?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, look, Bo Nix is a big boy.
He's a quarterback.
Yeah, he's a quarterback.
And you got doo-dooed on by the quarterback, bro.
Yeah.
That's rough, man. Rough.
Yeah, that can't happen. But hey, good win nonetheless. Now I do got to ask you, Jimbo, what? Justin Tucker, he made the kick, okay? Yep. And he made the extra point that dinged off the upright. I'm nervous about if and I hate this. It's crazy, but I'm nervous if it does come down to a kick at this point. He barely squeezed the one inside the upright. He dings an extra point off the upright. Like, what's your – and I feel like this is a day-to-day thing. What's your confidence today on November the 3rd in Justin Tucker making a big-time kick?
I'm confident.
Still. Are you just saying that, or do you really believe it? Honestly.
I believe it. I believe in the highest pressure moments, I think Justin Tucker puts it through. I don't care where it goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think
as long as it's through. You don't care if it's all the way to the right, all the way to the left. No. Don't you miss the day of him just splitting the uprights beautifully? Don't you miss those days?
Yeah, I remember. Well, we left that Bengals game, remember?
Yeah.
Did we? Dude, I still tell that story. Remember what you said to that drunk guy?
Bengals fan thought they had one. No.
Oh, wait. Do you remember the punchline, though, Glenn?
What did I say?
Dude, so I just need to.
Oh, is he good?
This is well worth the story. 30 seconds. Yeah, we're at the Thursday night game. Shout out to, I forgot who it was, but shout out to one of the folks that got us tickets. That's a viewer of the show. Apologies for not knowing your name offhand, but he's a traveling nurse, right? Yeah. Anyway, we're sitting there. There's four guys in front of us. Bengals game. The one dude is drunk and he's heckling us the whole game. And he's telling Glenn that McPherson is a better kicker than Tucker. And I told them early on in the game, because they started talking a little trash. I said, look, I've known Glenn a long time. If you open this can of worms, it's going to be a problem. I'm just letting you know now. And they decided to do so. Turn around, arguing about McPherson, whatever. Glenn's like, dude, there's 2 minutes left. You left too much time. All we need to do is get it over the 50, and Justin Tucker's going to hit the field goal. You're celebrating for nothing. Anyway, the guy continues to argue with Glenn about who's the better kicker. And then Glenn finally goes, you know what? Here's the real question. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, who's the better kisser? And he just looks at this guy. Serious as can be. And you know how people get like the drunk lean, dude? Like he didn't know so confused. Well, and I think he didn't even say anything. Didn't he just turn around?
Yeah, I mean, look, when everybody's trying to be tough, you ask him something silly like that.
Dude, it was
the steam right out of him.
It was the funniest thing in the world. I mean, I knew something like that would be coming. They didn't see it coming.
No.
It was hilarious, dude. Anyway,
a little bit of a blindside.
Speaking of a blindside, that story was a bit of a blindside, but I just told that story like 2 days ago.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, look, on their side of the ball, let me give them a little bit of credit here. I thought Sutton lived up to the hype coming into this game. 7 catches, 122 yards on 10 targets. I look at that Brandon Stevens play early. Not much you can do if you're Brandon Stevens. I saw that some fans on Twitter and stuff were like, here we go again. Brandon Stevens getting the ball called on him, even though he's right there. There ain't nothing you can do as a corner on that play. That was a beautiful timing play from the quarterback and the receiver. He had a good game. But outside of that, just like we said, nobody else did anything. I mean, their next leading receiver was Javonte Williams out of the backfield with 2 catches. And Jaleel McLaughlin, the other back, with 3 catches out of the backfield. Nobody else on the outside. And they knew that going into it. And I'm sure that's part of the reason why the Ravens defense was able to hold them to just 10 points. Not a lot of weapons. And so, yeah, it was a good game by this defense. Good game overall by the Baltimore Ravens. But obviously still some things to clean up. And I think the big thing is allowing guys to rest and key players to not even participate in the fourth quarter with a Thursday night game just 3 days away. Or bless you. I mean, 4 days away. How big do you think that was, getting guys off their feet, out of their cleats for the entire fourth quarter?
Huge, because certainly it's one of the things I do worry about with Derrick Henry. I know he's first in all these categories. He's also first in carries. I know he's otherworldly. He's
first in everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know all those things exist, but it is something that still concerns me. That's why one of the reasons I'm excited about Keaton Mitchell coming back. Not that Keaton, his only job is to take snaps away from Derrick. Like, he's more valuable than that. But just to have a 3-guy rotation where all of them are big-time playmakers, I think is important. So, to your point, though, Glenn, I mean, it's extremely important. Any minute you can get of rest.
Yes.
That's just excellent. And one less hit, one less snap, one less block, all of those things. So yeah, I think that's a big point that you bring up there. I did have a question for you. So I wrote a few questions down. I'm kind of bouncing around.
All right.
But one of them is, so what do you take away if you're Zach Orr, right? What do you take away from this game? Like, if you could pinpoint 2-3 things as far as like, let's hold on to this as far as the things that we liked, and let's build on this. If there's a few things that come to your mind, is there anything off the top of the dome?
Yeah, well, I thought they did pretty well again, stopping the run and forcing the Broncos into long second and long third down opportunities. I think that is part of the reason why they were able to hold them on those conversion attempts and force some fourth downs and able to get off the field. They hold Javonte Williams to 3.5 yards per carry. And really, if you take away some of the late runs by Estime, I think his name is Aldrick Estime. Yeah. He had some chunk runs, but it was at the end of the game when the game was in hand. I think anytime you can make a team face 3rd and long or 2nd and long, just limits what they can do. So that's the first thing is, look, we had some injuries up front, and yet we were able to get back to our identity, which is stop the run first, force them into long 3rd down, and then take our chances and try and get off the field. But at the same point, if you're going to do the work, you're going to force them into that long 3rd down, and you can't continuously get pressure. You can't consistently get pressure on a quarterback, especially without blitzing. And even when you do blitz, a lot of times you weren't getting home early and it was causing chunk plays behind you. That's the part that's got to scare you. Like, we did our job in a lot of ways. We got what we wanted. 3rd down, 3rd and medium, 3rd and long. And yet a lot of times early they were able to convert. And I think that's because the pass rush wasn't there. It came late. But look, when your offense is hitting like that, I mean, it's not difficult to have more pass rush opportunities and get some sacks late, which is what they did. But look at their sack totals in the first half. Look how much time he had in the first half. And now look, they had some 4th down stops, which made it look, the score looked in our favor. But I still would have some concerns if I'm Zach Orr. But I got to celebrate the fact that we had some good run stopping defense on 1st and 2nd down.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, overall, I agree. There were some moments in the run game, mostly by Bo Nix, where it was like, we're not doing what we need to do to stop the bleeding and kind of, hold things together. But I think those are a lot of good points. You got me nervous about Tuesday though, focusing on the blitz. It's almost hard to remember how important the pressure is because we just won 41-10.
Mm-hmm.
But when you take the context of the game in, it still makes you think, oh shoot, what do we need to do here to kind of, take things to the next level? And what do we not have in-house that we need? Kevin Johnson says, great win, still not sold on our defense yet. I think that's where you sit, Glenn. I think that's where I sit as well. It's a step. But I think there's still some holes that this team really needs to work on. And I'm going to be really interested. Look, the thing is, Glenn, what are you putting down on money, right? Like, are they making a move on Tuesday? Because we're not going to be 100%. On before. You think so?
They're making a move. The thing that worries me is that there's so many teams that feel they're a pass rusher away, and that's what I need most. That it's going to be steep. The asking price is going to be steep. And look, we got an absolute, and as you see all these other rumors, because of course at this point, there's all these, this is what this team's going for. This is what that team. We're still hearing that the Steelers are very much so looking for wide receiver help. The Chiefs are very much so looking for the job that Eric DeCosta did in getting, and I'm going to ask you about this guy in a second, Deontay Johnson, for literally we're going to gain a pick from getting him. Like it's insane. When he leaves as a comp pick, we're going to get a comp pick. It's insane. And not only the fact that we have him, but maybe even more importantly is the fact that those guys don't get that guy, because the Chiefs could have probably made the same deal for him. The Steelers could have made the same deal and literally get a pick to get, like, it's insane. Like the trade makes absolutely no sense. It's a stupid trade for anyone except for the Ravens. But my point is that it's almost just as valuable that they didn't get him, that the Chiefs didn't get him, that the Steelers didn't get him, as it is that we got him. Because there's teams out there looking for him. But yeah, they have to make a move. Absolutely. No brainer, in my opinion. It's just like one of those things where DeCosta, you may have to go outside of your comfort zone as far as what you're paying to get this guy, because I want Azeez Ojulari so bad. And how about we make this look like a lot like the Roquan deal? Like, we have Patrick Queen here. We trade for a guy. We sign him to a long-term deal. Kind of looks like Owe, right? We got Owe. We trade for Azeez. We sign him. We let Owe walk. That's kind of how I see this looking. And I really hope, man. I really hope. Because you can't just go, well, they paid too much, so we couldn't get our guy. Well, no, that's not good enough.
Yeah, I hope you're right, Glenn. That is my fear, that this team will stick to their guns and their evaluation of, the picks that they have. But like you said, there's a moment, right? Like, context matters. We're on the precipice of doing something, and we've doing something great. We've seen other teams do this. I mean, I know this was not necessarily the same time in the season, but when the Rams went all in and got gosh dang it,
OBJ,
Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Right? Like Matthew Stafford, that was a big deal. Yeah, and it worked. Now, look, things have turned out well for Jared Goff, but certainly he's not sitting there with a championship under his belt, right? But to my point, yeah, sometimes you have to say, valuation be damned. Let's go out there and get a guy that we simply need to get to get to the next level today. Man, you know what, Glenn?
Right now, Jimbo, Zadarius Smith is the trade is supposed to be finalized tonight of him going to Detroit, according to Pro Football Talk. So that's one guy who, at least if you believe in these rumors, is off the market. So that leaves Clowney and my guy Ojulari. And I'm sure there's other guys out there, but those are the two of the three guys I had on my list of 5 pass rushers. I can't recall the rest of them, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if they are aggressive or if they get beat out by a more aggressive GM elsewhere.
I hate to break it to you, Glenn, but I don't think anything's happening on Tuesday.
What?
I agree with you and all your points 100%, but I also agree with you that Eric is gonna. I mean, look, we saw it in the offseason with we let Zeitler walk. That's worked out.
Yeah.
Right? We only drafted one offensive lineman. It's seemingly worked out.
So you mean to tell me you think they're believing in the growth of this current unit to get better?
I think that's more likely than them going to get a guy. Right.
But who, like, you can't, you've seen enough of these guys. Like, it's not like you have a whole bunch of first year players out there that you like we do on the offensive line where it's a bunch of new start. Like, we've seen Oweh for 3 years. We know what he is. We know we know. Man, I just
I'm
don't
with
have a
you.
lot of confidence that they're gonna get leaps and bounds better, and that's what I
Trust
think
me,
it'll
Glenn.
take.
That's why I wasn't nervous about making the bet. I know who Oweh is.
Oh man, I'm gonna be
But,
running.
yeah, dude.
I'll be ready.
Yes, sir. Cole's
I'll be
watching,
ready.
bro. We're gonna troll him. Cole, you hear
I'll
that?
I'll be ready.
I'm
That's
I'm
right.
I'm writing checks for Glenn. Glenn, you better, bro.
Hey, you got just as much pressure on you. You're the coach, dude.
It's true.
You're the coach, man. You think John doesn't have any pressure on his shoulders to win?
It's true. It's absolutely true.
It's not
Oh,
all
dude,
on the players.
dude. Speaking of, you talked about Deontay before. Am I wrong? Did he
Yeah.
not get a catch today?
He definitely didn't get a catch. I
saw him like 5 plays or so.
Yeah, I did see him a couple times, but I was hearing 10 to 15 snaps.
Okay.
I don't think I saw that, but yeah, definitely no targets in his direction for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I
But
guess
he just got here.
Right. I guess that's fair. But I did think it was funny that Tony was talking about him in a depth fashion, right? Like, oh, he's a depth guy, and I don't think that's fair to say about Deontay.
I don't think so.
I think he's more than depth. Like, the dude is a good football player, right?
Now there's a lot of talent in front of him. Just when you look at this, kind of how the depth chart, or the box score shows, 6 targets went to Zay. I'm talking about just receivers. 6 targets go to Zay, 4 go to Bateman, and only 1 to Aguilar. That's it for your entire wide receiver core. So you're contending with Justice Hill, who got 3 targets, with Mark Andrews, who got a couple, with Pat Ricard, who got a target, likely got a target. Derrick Henry got a couple targets. Like, you're competing with an awful lot of guys. But yeah, he's gonna make plays for this offense. Let's not forget, I don't know if you guys knew this, but he was dealing with an injury, a nagging injury that was keeping out of a lot of practices with Carolina. So it's likely that that's still impacting him in some way. And maybe the Ravens just say, look, we got good guys. We'll just let you get healthy, and then we'll bring you in at that point. Also, you gotta learn the team a little bit, or learn the offense a little bit.
No, most definitely. And I'm looking forward to see what his impact is. The only reason I bring that up because I think he's going to be more impactful than a depth guy, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, no, most definitely. All right, what else you got on your mind, Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, I want to quickly, I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Ardarius Washington not only gets the interception, has a nice pass deflection on Cortland Sutton towards the end portion of the game. Want to see more of him, because that guy, yeah, he dropped a couple picks, and that's frustrating. But he was in position to make those picks. And I have confidence that from here on out, he will make those catches and make those plays. I want to see more of Ardarius. Why not, right? Like, who else you going to put back there? Let's see. It looks like Craig has something here. What does Craig Fox
Craig Fox
say?
says Steelers couldn't have traded for Deontay because they traded him to the Panthers. Can't trade away, then trade back same player. Now, I don't think the Steelers would have done that, to your point, Craig, but it is kind of funny to have him on our roster just to make sure other teams don't.
Oh, the Chiefs were also very much so still in the market for receivers. So maybe not them, but could have been one of the other AFC powerhouses.
The Bills could be looking around still. I mean, certainly there's a lot of names.
But
and
that's
now,
a good point, Craig. That's a good point.
Yeah, you did remind me of something, Glenn, that I thought was funny. Tell me where. So, like, we always knock on Brandon Stevens. 1, he's a pretty physical player. 2, he never turns his head around and gets the ball. He had his head around.
That was a bad PI call.
I know, like, they made it almost seem like it was cut and dry on the TV, and I absolutely disagreed, because they engaged in this sounds weird. They engaged in mutual contact.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but they locked up, and then they were both looking at the ball.
Yep.
Right? They're both looking back at the quarterback, and it's within a short distance on top of that, because that was near the end zone.
Yeah.
So to me, I felt like he actually did it right and got penalized.
Yeah, and I was expecting on the replay from behind to show, because you couldn't really see what his right arm was doing. And I'm like, okay, maybe he's got to hold him with the right arm. And then they show the reverse angle, and he's not touching him with the right arm. It's just kind of floating behind him, like Keanu Reeves does when he takes pictures with female fans. He just kind of floats the arm behind to avoid any possible touching. But yeah, I thought that was a bad call. He actually got his hand. Now, I wish he was more aggressive, because it looks like he saw the ball relatively early and quickly.
Right.
But attack the ball with both arms and try and get a damn interception, man. Yeah. It's like he saw it, but he still only tried to wave at it with the one hand instead of trying to rip his right arm through and get a hand on it. But Let's see here. Daniel Hudson says Lamar has 5 straight games with 275 yards passing, a Ravens record. Not bad for a running back. Yeah, that looked pretty quarterbacky out there today with a 158.3. Fourth time with a perfect passer rating in his early career. It's nutty. When you look at the list of total perfect passer rating games, DK, can you find that? What's the record for most total perfect passer rating games in a career for a quarterback? I know he's like already, if not up like the top, he's right there. It's absolutely insane what that guy's doing. But yeah, 5 straight, dude, with 275. I mean, we had Joe Flacco here for quite some time. That guy could sling it. He's never done that, Jimbo.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that right now as well. No, Lamar Jackson is just ridiculous. I mean, what else can you say about the guy? Like I said before, I think anybody can argue it with me, and I'll argue it with him to the death. I think he's the best football player of all time. They talked about the Babe Ruth. They had the whole Babe Ruth thing. He's people have said it. He's the Babe Ruth of football, and we didn't even start that.
Yeah,
the dude's ridiculous.
It's pretty, especially if he's able to do it and get that championship. With all the other accolades he's going to have, all the wins, his winning percentage, the air yards, the running yards, everything he's got, you'd have a case, Jimbo. I mean,
yeah, I know that, everyone will always bring up Tom, and I get it. I don't know if Lamar gets a 7. Now, I do want to say this, though. According to my sources, DK, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom Brady has the record, right?
With what?
The perfect passer rating. It says,
look on your screen right now.
Yeah, I see that. But what I'm saying is that, it says 3. Here it says 5. Now, I wonder
maybe they're including playoffs.
That's what I was wondering, yeah. But even if it's 5 total for Tom, Lamar's...
He's one back.
It's ridiculous.
He's 27.
And Tom Brady's old enough to be Lamar's dad.
For sure.
Like,
he's 27. Like, what are we... This is
wild,
absolutely
dude. We are watching history. I mean, it's just insane.
And, yeah, I mean, he's a freak show. I mean, what's his... So, does he still only have 2 interceptions on the year?
I don't know. I forget that. Look, quarterbacks can throw interceptions because
he just never
thankfully
does.
Ours just doesn't seem to do it.
And if he does, both those 2 that I remember, where one was off Bateman's hands, the other was off Andrew's hands.
Yeah.
So they weren't even like bad throws. Let me see here. But I am curious what his touchdown to interception ratio is, even with those 2 that, again, were not his fault. Let me see here. Yeah, he's crazy, Jimbo. He's got... Okay, so it hasn't been updated, but 20 touchdowns to 2 interceptions.
It's insane, dude. It's just out of this world.
And then you add 2 more touchdowns on the ground, so 22 to just 2 is an absolute freak show statistic right there. And then you have Derrick Henry, who, like you said, already has over 1,000, already has double-digit rushing touchdowns. Yeah, man, this is a fun offense to watch. Holy smokes. We got one of the greatest offenses in the history of football on our team right now, Jimbo. Not just like in this league. I mean,
right,
in history.
Yeah. It's crazy because people in the chat, like, no one's up in arms. It's weird in that, like, there's been so many highs and so many lows that it's like, other than talking about the defense, I don't really know, offensively, what can you say that would be inflammatory or negative? I don't know what you can say, but defensively, certainly there's some work to do. Now, Tuesday is the trade deadline. Glenn and I have already spent some time talking about that, but for sure, we're gonna be right here talking about it.
We got a big night because that's gonna be we always record Tuesday, but that's gonna be our trade, trade reaction show plus preview. I mean, I guess we have to do a preview show then too, right? Like, when do we do the preview?
I guess so, yeah.
We'll have to talk about it, I guess, to figure out exactly what.
And
what's up?
The election, dude, is the
That's true. That is another, Tuesday's a huge, huge day.
And my mother-in-law flies home.
Look at that, man.
Look, they just keep adding to the list, man.
Kobe, no. Nobody is getting Max Crosby. He will be a Raider. He will remain a Raider for many, many years. He's made it clear. The owner of the team has made it very clear. Max Crosby is going absolutely nowhere. They would be crazy to move him. But man, would I love it? Holy.
Dude, there's a clip in Parks and Rec where she loses the election that her being Leslie Knope, what's her name? Amy Poehler or something like that. Amy,
yep.
Yeah. And it's close enough for a recount, and the opposing what's it called? Manager of the campaign manager is like, look, if you don't go to the recount, I'll just give you Joe Biden's phone number. And she's like, no, recount. And she's like, I'll give you Joe's home phone number. And she's like obsessed with Joe Biden in the show. And so she's like, hold on, let me think. And then finally her campaign manager has to like, no, we need a recount. My point is that like the Raiders owner can be sitting there getting his haircut at Cookie Cutters, the kids' barber shop, inside of the little car while he's watching Lilo and Stitch. And he's like, we're not trading. Hold on. Eric DeCosta just floated a first or like something crazy like that comes across.
It would have to be like 3 firsts.
We'll see.
To land that guy.
We'll see. But I feel like, anyway, we'll see. I don't think he's coming to Baltimore, but I'm not convinced. That dude is not a great business maker.
That's true. And Max Crosby did say, look, it's not up to me. But if you trade a guy who has been like, I love this team. First of all, how great he is. Never takes a playoff. Absolute monster.
Right.
But also a guy who says, I love this team. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to retire. Like, and not just like, I'd like to retire. Like everybody says, like he means it. Like I'm a Raider. Like if you trade him, what does that say to the rest of the team? Like, holy smokes, they're going to trade that guy? The guy who loves it here, wants to be here, plays his ass off. He's an all-pro. It's like, man, what a message that would be sending to your fan base, to the rest of the members of the team. That would be crazy.
Yeah, DK saying that Tom Brady won't allow it. We'll see. We'll see is all I'm saying. We'll see. Yeah. You just never know. But I think that's it for us. The Ravens, huge win. It's an AFC win against a really good defense who we made look minuscule and insignificant. Huge step in the right direction for the defense. And Justin Tucker was perfect today.
Barely.
Hey, he's perfect, baby. So what else can you ask for, right?
That's true.
But that's it for us, folks. We'll be back on Tuesday with, like Glenn said, a trade deadline reaction show, and most likely also our preview as a part of it. Yep. But all that being said, you guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon. Hey!